Hello, I'm ABXToyCat and welcome back to the video. I don't know if anyone is like me in this regard, but when it comes to learning controls for video games, I like to just play the game and pick them up as I go along. This is a lot better for me at least than doing a tutorial, but the downside to it is you often miss a lot of controls. Now Minecraft doesn't even have a tutorial to play if you want to, at least on the PC version, but yet there is a lot of complex controls that it doesn't really go over and that aren't made obvious if you just play the game and pick it up as you go, like I said. So today I'll be letting you know about 5 controls that I only recently learned about by going through the entire list, and I'll let you know, how to do some different stuff that you might not have previously known how to do. So yeah, this is a slightly bizarre idea for a video, but hopefully you all do learn something or something like that. If you do, like the video, let me know because it helps out the channel a lot and lets me know you do like this sort of video. And with that said, let's get straight into it already, shall we? And let's start with the first of the 5 controls that you might not already know. Also, by the way, you totally do recognize this map in case you are curious. Like, is that Green Hill? Yes, it is. But yeah, let's start with the first of the controls that you might not notice, which is actually going to be the F key. So this is something that's only relevant for Minecraft 1.9 onwards, and therefore is only on the PC right now. But it is a really clever way to make dual wielding a little bit less complex, because right now if you want to switch from one thing to the other without using keys, you have to kind of do like this and then do that, and it's kind of awkward, especially if you're mid combat and you really need to do a switch. So what's a fast way of doing that? The F key. So that's right, the F, which is literally just next to your D key, which is really handy if you're already strafing or something like that. You just have to press F and it will switch what's in your main hand and what's in your offhand. This is really cool because if you want to, you can rearrange your inventory like this, so you go like that, and now suddenly we've got a golden carrot and a sword in our hand. So yeah, that's something you can do if you want to. Press the F key and it rearranges what you've got going on there. I think it's pretty useful so that you can rearrange your inventory, and it's also just great for when you're in the middle of a fight and you want to have 2 primaries that are different. You can switch from one to the other without ever using, the scroll wheel or anything like that, which is pretty handy if you ask me. So yeah, that's the first of the 5 controls. The second is actually the F1 key. So F1 is really useful because it turns off your HUD, or your HUD, your heads-up display if you will, and basically turning off your HUD might seem like it's a really useless little, endeavor because, I just can't see stuff now, but it's actually useful for quite a few reasons. First of all, it makes the game seem a little bit more scenic, especially if you press F5 on top of that, which allows you to see yourself from the back. Oh, I have a mic on, but yeah, it allows you to see yourself from the back, which is pretty cool if you ask me, and then you can just play the game without having to have the, the time, or, the whatever's on the right, and also your, the thing down there getting your way. But also, on top of being able to do that, if you do it in first person, this is how you always see those thumbnails, or you see in videos how people do this. The way you make it so you only see your character and nothing else but your Minecraft world is you press F1. So yeah, if you want to take better screenshots, better thumbnails, better whatever else you want to do, then you can do so by pressing F1, or turning it back on with F1, which is pretty useful like that. So yeah, that's it. Let's move on to the next of these, which is going to be actually the left control button. So, or the left control key, I should say. So I'm clarifying left control because I don't believe it works for both controls, and basically it is a way to sprint without having to double tap W. Most games don't do the double tapping W thing. Most games use shift to sprint, but in Minecraft that's not possible. But if you don't want to double tap W, because it is kind of a little bit of a, let's spawn the boots up. But yeah, it's a little bit of a weird system in my opinion. What you can actually do instead is you can press left control while walking forward. So if you do that, then you'll start sprinting and you won't stop until you let go of the W key, which is really useful for getting away in PvP. And it's what a lot of people. Okay, so you can see right there, I stopped sprinting, so it stopped. It's a really useful way to sprint and not have to stop. So just like this, boom, we're sprinting, and then we press, and then we stop, and we're stopped. And yeah, it's a bit easier than pressing double tapping W for me, and I think it's pretty useful if you want to do things that way. So there's no console equivalent, there's no Pocket Edition equivalent, but it is still really useful, and I'd like to see it on those versions too, if I'm being entirely honest with you. But that is the left control key. Next up, we have F3 and G. This is one I really appreciate because it is, it's great for building if you want to build kind of, I guess, mathematically, or sort of maps and stuff. Because if you press F3 and G at the same time, it shows you the chunk borders. So it only shows you the chunk borders for the chunk you're in. So I move from this chunk to over here, you'll see, then suddenly it shows you all of this, and it's really cool because it shows you in yellow 2x2, in blue it shows you 16x16 if I'm not mistaken, and then in red it shows you, I think that's 4x4 maybe, or maybe it's even bigger than that. But yeah, basically the reason this is useful is because if you want to build at chunk boundaries so that your stuff renders in at just the right moment, or you want to make it so it shows up on the map better, or you just want to make it so it's all within the spawn chunks, which again, all important stuff you might want to do, you can do that by pressing F3 and G and turning it on and off like that. Because it's debug, I believe you can do it regardless of what your settings are, and it's just a, it's a handy little thing that Minecraft can show you in general. Speaking of F3, pressing it by itself will show you all of this information, which includes, if you look in the top right, your CPU, your GPU, your resolution, but more importantly, on the top left, you can see your coordinates, all that sort of stuff, but also, if you press F3 and Q, you get a whole list of commands that you might not have known about. I think I just pressed Q about, but if you press F3 and Q at the same time, so Q and then F3, I think there's a mistake I made, then basically what you can do, there we go, you can see all of the different controls you can do of that. So F3 A is reloading all the chunks, so if I press that, for instance, you can do that. It's a really cool little thing, basically, where you can see a whole bunch of different commands that are really situational. Admittedly, you're not going to need to do all of those too often, but if you want to, make it so that, for instance, when you alt-tab out of the game, it still runs, you can do that with F3 and, I believe it's P on there. If you want to, clear the chat, F3 and D, there's a whole bunch of, handy situational ones that you're never going to learn by yourself, if you just play the game, but that are quite useful. And, yeah, hopefully this video in general was quite useful for you. Maybe you learned how to sprint, in PvP without having to die and stuff. Maybe you learned how to not how to take screenshots, maybe how to go in first person and take screenshots by pressing F1, pressing F5, and then, by the way, you can take screenshots with F2, and it'll save it somewhere, which is pretty useful if you ask me. But yeah, maybe you learned one of those things, and if you did, I'd appreciate a like. If you really liked the video, you can share it, and if you want to see more videos just like this one, you can subscribe, and you will see them every single day on your homepage. Anyway, thank you all very much for watching this video. I'm going to back out into the ocean now, and I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye.